How's it going, everybody? Rye here today, and we are here with a one-year rebuild. Today, guys, can we save the Pittsburgh Penguins in one season? And as of the recording of this episode, guys, they are last place on points percentage in the Eastern Conference. Certainly not a place where a Sidney Crosby team has probably ever been, with Malkin. And the team, well, it's not very good this season, and they really need a lot of help around Crosby and Malkin. And that's the best thing about the Penguins. If you're going to do a one-year rebuild, is you've got the two stars, right? You've got great players. So let's go ahead, take a look at the lines, see what kind of challenge we have gotten ourselves into. We've got this one season to win the cup. And honestly, this is definitely not, this is not a cup roster. Absolutely not. They've got Malkin playing with Crosby. Now that's something we'll have to decide. Do we want Crosby and Malkin first and second line, or do we want to pair them up? It'll have to determine what we see in the trade market. And what I don't want to do is give up 4 first-round picks for McDavid and call it quits. I kind of want to keep it somewhat normal. I am going to be incredibly aggressive giving up prospects and picks like it's nobody's business, but I mean, honestly, guys, for Crosby and Malkin to have one last dance, 37 years old, 38 years old, and then you look at the blue line, we've got Letang, who's 37, Carlson, who's 34, right? So a lot of the guys at the end of their careers, there's going to have to be a long rebuild after this, but all I care about is just one season. Let's make the postseason, and let's make a run, right? We got Crosby, we got Malkin, we got Letang, we got Carlson, we got stars. We just need to surround them with the right supporting cast and make a run at the cup. And honestly, guys, looking at the blue line, it's not as bad as you might think. We probably need to get an upgrade over St. Ivani here, but the rest of the D-core, depending on chemistry, we'll figure it out, but maybe Carlson and Letang will play together, and, you know, Graves is a decent, you know, 4th, 5th option here, defensive defenseman. Right, we'll make it work. It doesn't look like our coach's scheme is very, very good here, but oh, Pettersson just does not fit that middle pairing at all. So, oh my God. Yeah, we'll probably need to find ourselves a middle pairing defender, but I would like to pair Carlson and Letang. And then offensively, at least one top line winger. That's going to be hard to find. Maybe we can find another aging player and just go all in for 1 year. And then another issue, guys, is the goaltending. 82 and 82 probably isn't going to get it done. Now, goaltenders don't have a ton of value, so this might be the easiest position to upgrade. But I honestly think, guys, I mean, honestly, moving Rust down, Bunting down, and all of a sudden the third line doesn't look as bad and the fourth line looks like a fourth line. We still have Crosby. We just need to find him a running mate, and then maybe Malkin goes here, right? So let's just kind of visualize it. If we were able to do something like this, and then Glass is just gone, or Poulin here. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. We need to find somebody to replace him. Probably another top 6 winger. I don't really want to go with a young guy because I'm worried about that young guy not developing. So it could be the way to maybe get an upside swing. I don't know. I'm going to go start looking at the trade market, guys, because we need to get into some trades. So first things first, we are going to go out and try and sign Kevin Shattenkirk, 35 years old, offensive defenseman, 83 overall, definitely an upgrade over St. Ivani, and it's just a 1-year deal at 1.3. That'll still leave us with just under 4, about 3.8 million available to go make a move for maybe a goaltender, maybe a winger, right? That cap situation is going to be tough. We're going to have to give something to get something, but I feel like this is a quick, easy way to not spend any assets and only cap. So we're going to offer Kevin Shattenkirk 1 year, 1.3. So the next trade we're going to make is giving up 2 seconds in Panamara for Barbashev. Barbashev is an 87 overall, a top 6 winger for sure. Looks really well-rounded as a two-way forward. Obviously, defense is something that we want to kind of prioritize because we've got a lot of offensive-minded players on this team. But Barbashev is the perfect kind of two-way forward that we can get. 2 seconds from next year's draft, not even the upcoming draft, but the following draft. And then Panamarev, listen, he's got 3rd line as his ceiling. Not going to complain about this too much. Feels pretty, honestly, realistic. 2 seconds, though, would be a little bit rich, but honestly, for a guy like Barbashev, I feel like this is a pretty solid deal. So the next trade I think I'm going to make is to move on from Ryan Graves. He felt like the most overpaid for the overall, and he doesn't fit Mike Sullivan's scheme, which is, by the way, awesome that we have coaches in the game finally. But Graves, 5 years at $4.5 million. I can get a 3rd and a 5th out of him. 82 overall, not going to grow. $4.5 million, right? We saw that there's free agent defensemen out there that we can spend probably about $1 million on, and $4.5 million gives us some cap space flexibility to maybe go out and make another trade. So Graves for a 3rd and a 5th. Thank you, Chicago. I need to make some line changes. So the next move I am going to make is I'm going to get rid of Nedeljkovic. $2.5 million for a backup when you've got less than $1 million here for Blomqvist. It just makes too much sense. 1 overall difference. Tristan Jarry, not really movable. Nobody wanted him. I tried to find something, but nobody wanted him. There is a trade offer out there for Nedeljkovic. I'm going to send him to Columbus for 2/7. Listen, it's a terrible return, but it gives us another $2.5 million to play with. And who knows, the 7th could be valuable. I could throw him in at some point, but I think this just makes sense to get us some more cap space and flexibility to go after those top line wingers. Next up, guys, we are going to get ourselves an elite goaltender. Pyotr Kochetkov is the goalie I'm targeting, right? They've got 2 goalies there in Carolina. He's not all that valuable, believe it or not, and it's only going to cost us Rudder McGroarty. And listen, it's a high potential prospect, high top 6. A 5th and a 6th, right? That's whatever. But the prospect for the goalie, I mean, the goalie's going to help us now. He's making only $2 million for 3 years, 86 overall, and has the ability to probably grow mid-season into quite a stud goaltender. This trade makes too much sense to upgrade goaltending, so I'm going to do it. Next up, guys, we are going to try and target Connor Garland from the Vancouver Canucks. Second line sniper, 85 overall, pretty solid all around, right? The puck skills, senses, defensively, not too bad. One of those players that I feel like can play anywhere in the top 6, and according to our scouts, he fits the first forward line. Put a sniper like this on Crosby's wing. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I feel like he could have a really, really good season, right? Obviously, not much more than a 20-goal scorer IRL, but when it comes to his shooting category in the 87s, we'll see. But I feel like we're not giving up much. Owen Pickering here, 20, 75. We've got Samuel Poulin, 23 at 77, not going to be much. And then Blake Lizotte, 26-year-old depth forward, right? Not much to worry about here. So we're going to go ahead, pick up Connor Garland from the Vancouver Canucks. Just to update everybody on where we're at as a team, what the lines look like. I think it's a slight improvement. Obviously, with Malkin down on the second line, it doesn't look nearly as good on that top line, but I think Garland and Barbashev are both better than Rust or Raquel to play on that top line, and it frees us up to put Malkin on the second line. I think what we do need to do is go out and get one more top 6 winger, maybe another Garland type deal, because if we can throw Hayes down here and replace Cody Glass with an 86, 85, somewhere in that range, I'd say that these forward lines look decent. It's not an easy position to be in right now, but I think we are making strides in the right direction. Kevin Shattenkirk decided to sign with the Colorado Avalanche, so unfortunately I couldn't get him. I did bring in Kalen Addison, though, who does fit most of the lines, if not all of them. I do think I want to get rid of Marcus Pettersson, though. He is making $4 million with a no trade clause. He's got 24 tradable teams, so it's not that big of a deal. But just doesn't fit the scheme. 84 overall, defenseman. Maybe could use him to get another, like a defenseman swap, just kind of change a scenery thing. I'll see what I can do there. But the forward core, it's looking deeper. Not quite as good. I still think I need a second line winger or a first line winger should one come available. Upgrading from Pettersson to find somebody with a scheme fit. But as far as goaltending, I feel like this is a pretty decent goaltending pair. Kochetkov and Jarry, I feel like is a solid 1-2, 86, 82. I can't really complain too much about that. So next we're going to trade with the Washington Capitals. I know it feels a little icky to trade with the Capitals, but I was just looking at players that I would like to see what the other team would ask for. And I was looking at Rasmus Sandin, 84, but a little bit of growth potential this season. Looks really balanced up and down. All of his stats, and then his pro scout says he's going to fit the top 4, which is exactly what we would want him to do, because I don't want Marco Scandella on the second pairing. Heck, he could even play on the first pairing with Letang or Carlson. And they asked for Pettersson as well as Pienaniemi, 19-year-old. Yeah, listen, this is kind of a straight defenseman swap. I'm giving up a little bit more, but it's really not going to hurt us, even in the long run, even if this was a long-term rebuild. I feel like this is a pretty good deal. We're going to bring in Rasmus Sandin. And guys, the next trade we're going to make is going to get us another top 6 goal-scoring winger. We're talking to the Buffalo Sabres, getting JJ Peterka. They're asking for Matt Grzelcyk and Brunecki here. 18, 68, medium top 4, a decent defenseman prospect. And Grzelcyk, 84, sure. He is making only 2.75, so that's not bad at all. He just doesn't fit the scheme for an 84. I don't want to feel so rigid with our defensive core, so I'd like to have the flexibility to move players up and down. And JJ Peterka here, another sniper, very much in the similar mold to Connor Garland. He's an 86 at just 22, so this is one for the future. I don't think the Sabres would ever make this deal in a million years. No chance. But I asked them what they wanted for Peterka. This is what they're saying. He fits the top 6 and the power play. Does need a contract extension, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm here for 1 year, so honestly, I'm going to make this deal and then go find ourselves a third pairing defenseman or maybe a middle pairing defenseman. I don't know. The defensive core, still shaky. Not sure about it. Feel okay because we got Karlsson and Letang, but Rasmus Sandin really does help a lot. But honestly, I'm going to do this deal. This one I think I would do even if it was a long-term save. So I have found that replacement for Grzelcyk. It is going to be Jake Walman, a defensive defenseman again, but does have a little bit of puck skills and senses, unlike most defensive defensemen. 85 overall at 28, fits the top 4 pairing. 2 years at 3.4 is a really solid deal right there. That's the kind of player I feel like I can find. Yarventi, whatever, however you say his name, 66 at 19, not going to be much, probably one for the long-term future. A third, and we've got a lot of thirds, that's one thing I'm noticing. And then Drew O'Connor here, 1 year left, 26, 81. The coach wants him scratched right now, so Mike Sullivan said, hey, he's going to be scratched, so we're not using him if I hit best lines anyway, so I figured upgrading the defensive core to Jake Walman, it makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and do this deal, and we can go ahead and take a look at the lines. I think that's all the trades I'm going to make before the season even starts. We still have like our first round picks in our back pocket here, so it's not too off the rails. I'll show you guys real quick. Draft picks. We've got a first, 3 thirds, a fourth, 2 fifths, 3 sevenths. I mean, you can see, and it's a next year's third as well, which we have 3 of as well. So honestly, we're making some moves, and I think the team is getting better. All right, so here are the lines as we start the simulation. I think I'm going to not just keep going crazy because we could do a lot of trades and make a lot of deals. But right now, I think this team is good enough to at least make the playoffs. We'll see as we get through the season. You know, obviously, it might be tough without having any more elite talent, but having 2 guys that are basically a 90, Malkin's getting the +3 with Crosby and Peterka on the top line, so it's really a 92, a 97, and an 89. That's really good. And then our second line is 84, 87, 85. Maybe a little bit of an upgrade for Rickard Rakell later on in the season. We'll see how people simulate, but for now, that's a decent second line. The third line, I think, is pretty good. 83, 84, 84. I think that's, you know, a quality third line. And the fourth line is 81, 80, 79. I mean, you're not really going to have much worse than that. Oh, let's see if we can put Glass at 7. Yep, there we go. We get a +1, so it's, you know, a little bit of an upgrade there. +1 on every line, but the second line, so we get the chemistry boost there. On the first line, no, it's a +3. The defensive pairings, I'm actually pretty happy with this. I turned out to just do lefty-righty, lefty-righty, lefty-righty. Kind of worked out that way. I didn't target that, but we've got Walman and Karlsson as our top pairing, Sandin and Letang as our middle pairing, and Scandella and Addison, 2 newbies into the 4A here. I really like the Walman-Karlsson pairing. They're getting a +1 as well. So, I mean, we got the defensive defenseman to go with the offensive defenseman. Then on the middle pairing, we've got a 2A defender and a 2A defender. And then defensive, offensive again there. So I'm really liking the balance of our D pairs. I like the depth in our forward core. I'd like to get more elite talent. Maybe I'll get desperate later on in the season to get one more elite player. Hello, Jake Gensel. Goodbye, I guess. But maybe JJ Peterka takes that spot. And then in goal, obviously, Pyotr Kochetkov and Tristan Jarry. I really think that's a solid 1-2 punch, and Kochetkov could get to an 87, 88 by the time the playoffs roll around. I think at least at this point, we're not going to be last in the Eastern Conference in points percentage. So knock on wood, but let's go ahead, jump forward into the sim, go a couple months and see how we're doing. All right, so here we are at the end of November. Listen, 9-14-3, and I'm smiling. We were 2-12-2 before this Dallas start. 2-12-2. The team was I don't know how, but then we got hot. We went on a little bit of a run here. We're currently, it's not looking great. We are 8 points back of the Sabres for the final playoff spot, wild card spot. But we should be looking at the Hurricanes, who we're only 7 points back of. That's crazy. We're closer to the divisional spot. But 9-14-3. Not really what I thought this team would do. I toyed with the idea of firing Mike Sullivan, but I told him he could save his job if he set the lines himself, to which he did, and then we went on this 7-2-1 streak. Sidney Crosby playing fantastic. On that top line, 26 points in 26 games. JJ Peterka with 20 points in 26 games. Rickard Rakell doing well. Rust Malkin missed some time with an injury. I then turn injuries off because I don't want to deal with that. Bunting, yeah, honestly, guys, the minuses are crazy, though. It's honestly impressive that Connor Garland is as bad as he is. He should be much, much better than that, but hey, I guess not. Taking a look at the D pairs, Karlsson and Letang are getting points. Sandin has been a big old minus. Scandella and Addison, though, they've been a great 1-2 punch down there. Kochetkov and Jari, really, really bad goal against wise. I think we found something. We're on the way up. Stats will get better. But you know, 7-2 and 1, I think I said. Yeah, 7-2 and 1 in our last 10. So if we keep that pace up, we might make the playoffs. But at this point, guys, maybe the Penguins can't be saved. So as we've gone another 10 games from the last time I jumped in, guys, we are 5-5, and I need to make a big move, and it's going to cost us our first. And to make the money work, we're going to have to give up Jari. We're going to give up a third, and one of those 7s that I told might come in handy. So there it is. There's the 7th that we got from Nedeljkovic. And Jari, like, listen, he's not a savior. He's making $5.4 million as a backup goaltender. Listen, he's not saving our season. Travis Konechny is the guy I'm going after, a first-line forward with a bunch of X factors, a two-way guy. The contract is really, really solid, to be honest. The last year we could really acquire him. He's got I think a future deal baked in there, but that doesn't matter to me. He's 88. He's a two-way forward. I think he's what we need in the top 6. We got a lot of playmakers and snipers. We need, I think, this two-way guy to play on that first line. And he should help us chemistry-wise. Fits the third line. Don't really care about that at this point. I need guys with talent at this point. So we are going to bring in Travis Konechny. It's going to cost us our first, but hopefully, I mean, listen, we went on that little bit of a run. We would have been dead in the water if we were 2-12, and then that continued. But 5-5, it was just kind of 7-2 and 1 in the 1-10, 5-5 in the next 10. Hopefully we can get back to 6-7 wins per 10 games by bringing in a guy like Konechny. I think this trade makes sense. Let's see. Maybe it pushes us over the edge. I'm trying anything at this point. And just like that, we're getting a +5 on the first line with Malkin, Crosby, Konechny. The second line of Hayes, Barbashev, Peterka, Raquel, Glass, Rust, and Bunting, Nieto, Garland. Listen, it's not what I would have done, but what I had our lines at, got to start it off to 2-12. Ask Mike Sullivan what he wants to do. He then proceeded to go 12-7-1. Not bad, not great, but hey, it's better than what I had, let's be honest, in the first 20. So D pairings look like this. He wants Letang on the top pairing, Carlson in the middle. I'm okay with that. And then obviously the goaltenders now are Kochetkov and Blomqvist. So let's go on a run. Let's make something special happen. 15 games since the trade. We are 10-5, I want to say. I believe, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then where's the 5th? Yeah, right there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 10-5 since the trades. We've been honestly really, really good. We've clawed back to 500 and within 4 points of the Capitals, 5 points of the Hurricanes, 4 points of the Sabres, who we beat in a shootout. So we did pick up a point on them there. But 24-24-3. We're doing everything we can here, guys, to get back on top of it. The goals against have gotten better. The goals for have gotten better. The stats listen, they don't look great. Crosby's stats do. Crosby's got 45 points this season in, what is this, 51 games. So, I mean, the plus minuses are looking a little bit better. Listen, it's not great. Travis Konechny's got 41 points. As a Penguin, he's got 11 points in 15 games played and is a -1. Oh, my God. Why can't we just get things right? But Brian Rust, +3. JJ Peterka, +6. So that's good to see. Addison, Glass. Look at Cody Glass. Listen, I was upset with Mike Sullivan. I was like, I'm going to trade this guy just so he can't play him. Turns out he's one of our best two-way forwards. He's at least a positive, a net positive for us. Pustin in here was playing when Malkin went out and was a +1. So good for him. Goaltending wise, Blomqvist, oh my God, should have had Blomqvist up the whole season. 963 and a 114. You can see Kochetkov is looking a lot better too. His stats have improved drastically. I think we got to just keep on this trajectory and hope that we can claw those 4, 5, 6 points back and get into the playoff conversation. We're approaching the trade deadline on a 6-4 pace. And just for a minute there, guys, we had a little star next to our name. Taking a look at the standings here, you can see we are 4 points behind the Capitals. Really, we're fighting with the Lightning. It's us versus the Lightning. We need to get hot. We need to be on a much better pace than we're on. Kochetkov's stats are really middling at this point. He's not really getting better. We'll see. We got to get to the trade deadline. We'll see what's out there at the deadline. I'd like to make maybe another splash for another 4, maybe a defender. Just because the defense, I guess, isn't looking great. The +5 here, I think is really helping us. Crosby's got 54 points. I mean, I honestly think it might be the blue line needs to improve, but these guys on the top are doing fine. It's this middle. Erik Karlsson, man, dude, what are you doing to me here? Marco Scandella, then, yeah, it's really this middle pairing. I can't get rid of Karlsson. I just can't. He's got a no movement clause, and I don't really want to move him up, right? Because he was bad. So defensively, it's not going to help us out very much. So I'll see what's out there at the deadline, but let's get into it and just see if we can. We got to save this season. We're so close. Once we get in, who knows what could happen? We got elite talent, but we just got to get in. So we've got 4 games here. We were 6-4 in the 10 games before before this little stretch by the deadline. We do pick up a point against Boston. We lose to Toronto. Can we beat Colorado? We got to get some wins. No, we do pick up a point, but we got to get wins. Oh my God. And with 65 points now, we're still 1 point now behind the Sabres, 4 points behind the Capitals, but we've played quite a few games more. The Canadians, the Lightning are 1 point ahead of us. So we really do need to make the most of our opportunities here. And we're playing a Vegas team who, the Golden Knights, where are they? They're in 3rd. So they've got 70 points. They're not that much better than us. I feel like we can get there, but we got to be a buyer at the deadline. So let's go ahead, jump forward. Sim game. Yes, that's fine. Just so we can see what happens in the game, right? Because if you advance, it's going to be 3-2 at the end of one. A shorty, a power play, and a power play. It's 3-5, and we can't complete the comeback, so we drop another one. Oh, but morale's going up. And guys, honestly, that might be a little takeaway for the next time I try this, is get rid of morale. Locker room chemistry is at 57%, solely because I'm making so many trades. And I think it's just really hindering this type of rebuild. So maybe next time I'll get rid of it. Injuries off, morale off, and just kind of build a roster. But let's get into the trade deadline. I'm going to poke around and see what's out there. So guys, I've been playing around with trying to get some trades, and the sad reality is we just don't have future cap space. And none of these guys are really needle movers compared to what we already have. They're a bunch of the same type of players. The only guy I was trying to go after was Shea Theodore, but he's got a lot of value. We don't necessarily have that much left in the tank to be able to give away. Plus, he's got a contract extension that would put us over for next year. And honestly, I don't think I can make it work. One of the things I'm noticing is morale is affecting some of our players, like most importantly, Connor Garland. His morale is down to 82. Some of the guys that we brought in, right, for decent money, you can see Garland here, 82. He's down to he's at 5 million, but he's down to an 82. He was an 85 when we brought him in. Same thing is happening for some of these guys. I wonder if Noel Acciari would waive his. It's not like I'm going to get anything important for Noel Acciari, but it's just $2 million that I don't want to spend. Bunting, I'm not going to get rid of for Jan Rutta. Not really going to make a difference. So let's see if we can get rid of Acciari, but this is tough. So guys, I'm just going to go with my lines. I'm tired of having him put Connor Garland as the 4th line center. He needs to be playing more. I think he can help us out, and it allows us to put Malkin in the 2nd line, and the 2nd line looks better. We're still getting the +4 on the top line. And the 2nd line gets the +1, and now there's an 89 on there, so that should help out quite a bit. The 3rd line looks good. 4th line's a 4th line. I know Michael Bunting is generally a bit higher than this, but morale is dragging him down. I really got to turn up morale next time. We're loading up the top. We're going Letang, Karlsson, Sandin with Wallman, and then Scandella, Addison. We know that pairing's good. We're going to try Sandin, Wallman, and Karlsson, Letang, and hopefully just sheer talent on the top line, and Connor Garland can get happy. I think he's just playing terribly because he's on the 4th line and he's miserable about it. So hopefully, listen, we need goals. Obviously, you can see goals for per game, 22nd, goals against, 23rd. You at least thought this team would have put in goals. I don't know. Let's go ahead, go another 10 games at a time, and I'll check in as we go. 3, 6, and 1 over that 10, and that's probably going to put the nail in our postseason coffin. 2 games back on the Sabres as far as games played, and we need to pick up 5 points. So let's go ahead, simulate to the end of the season here, just see how things go. I mean, we're gaining morale, but I really think morale sunk our ship. Honestly, guys, 57%, you can't win like that. You got to be in the 70s, and there we go. There's a 5-0 win over the St. Louis Blues. It might be too little too late unless we get crazy hot here. We beat Dallas. We lose to Chicago. You can't lose to Chicago when you need a playoff push. Like, you can't lose back-to-back to Chicago when you need a playoff push. And that we probably have lost chemistry because we're eliminated from the playoffs is my guess. Crosby's pumped. We won in a shootout there. It's getting tight, guys. 7-1 loss. No, we're not even going to finish above 500. So, wow. All right. So lessons learned for the next time we do one of these one-off rebuilds. You guys said you wanted to see more of these. So this is not going to be the last one on the channel. But damn, chemistry has got to turn off. 50% chemistry, dude. Like that's the reason. We're just screwed because our chemistry is so low, and there's nothing I can do. As physically as a GM, I can't adjust the chemistry whatsoever. There's no team meeting. There's no promises. There's no, like, everybody is disgruntled, disengaged, and you can see, like, Connor Garland is disengaged, 81 overall. He was an 85 when we brought him in. And on ice play, that's it. Let's talk about your tactics. No, why are you pissed off? Like, talk to me. Like, no, there's nothing I can do with this. So a bit of a bummer, but it looks like the Penguins can't be saved no matter how many trades you make. As long as nobody has emotions, we might have been able to win this one, but this one's an L. Let me know what team you want to see me rebuild in just one season in another episode, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Any feedback is definitely welcome. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Yes, maybe I made some stupid trades, but the setup of this whole series, right? The one-off rebuilds, the one-year rebuilds. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and advance the day. And we do finish it out by beating the Washington Capitals, so that's good. And then Crosby, 73 points, not good enough. Konechny, not good enough here. 34 point, minus 14. That's really, really bad. Malkin, Peterka and Rust were bright spots. Rust was awesome. 25, almost 25 goals. Letang and Carlson, they had a lot of points, but terrible on the back end. Stop me if that sounds familiar. Kevin Hayes, 29 points, just not good whatsoever. Cody Glass was great. Connor Garland was absolutely, like, just miserable, right? He wasn't happy. He wasn't playing like we wanted him to in a minus 34. Yikes. I mean, maybe I shouldn't have tried to make it work. Maybe I should have just cut bait or whatever at the deadline, but I don't know, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Oh, let's take a look at our goaltenders. I almost forgot to take a look at how awesome our goaltending looked. Pyotr Kochetkov, 86 overall. How did he do? Was he enough to save the team? No, but Blomqvist was. If it was Blomqvist all season, we would have made the playoffs. But honestly, Kochetkov didn't end up so bad compared to where he started. So that's all the time I have for this one, guys. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see some more. And I will see you guys in the next one.
It's a free for all,